Hello and welcome. Getting to interview actor and producer Michael Douglas, son of movie legend Kirk Douglas, on the set of Jewel of the Nile proved slightly more difficult than I'd anticipated. It was 1984. I'd flown in from the Cannes Film Festival to the city of Fez in the Kingdom of Morocco in North Africa. At customs, I produced my relatively new NEC laptop computer, little realising that the concept of portable computers back then was totally unfamiliar to custom guards. In rapid-fire French, they demanded to know what it was, and in my stumbling Franglais, I tried to explain it was like a typewriter. No joy there. In moments, an armed guard marched me out of the queue, and I was pushed into a tiny cell, and the steel door slammed behind me. After what seemed like an eternity, but in reality was about 2 hours, I was released into the hands of the movie production people. A day later, sipping coffee in a hotel cafe, I asked Michael if they'd had any problems organising the arrival of cast and crew from all over the world, as well as equipment, including a fighter jet, guns, horses and trucks.
We're settled in. A lot of our problems were based on just rushing. We really only had about 8 weeks of pre-production. The same time putting the script together, and a lot of logistical problems, accommodation problems, the height of the tourist season.
Did you have to come here at this time? I mean, why was it
for Chris to make a Christmas release?
Uh-huh.
I mean, the whole thing,
Right.
the whole rush has been predicated on trying to release the picture in the States this Christmas,
right?
which we felt if you had a sequel. If you had a sequel that you need a certain, momentum. And the picture came out, then it came out on cassettes, was doing very well, and now it's coming out on the cable stations in the States.
Right.
Then have a summer teaser, so it just felt that would be the best time, and it was very tight. So it's been... it's fairly tough, but now we're in our 4th week. Had to clean house a little bit, get rid of all those people who thought they were down here for a vacation.
Really? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a tough shoot, so we had to put together, as they say, tighten up the ship a little bit and work through some of the bureaucratic problems. But now it's smooth, and we're optimistic.
What sort of bureaucratic problems did you face?
Well, you have custom problems, trying to bring Israeli Uzi machine guns into an Arab country, or bringing in explosions and guns and just equipment in general. They going through customs takes longer. They don't understand that you may need something desperately right away.
What are some of the things, just to give us an idea, that you had to bring in? Like Joel was saying last night, you've got 130 items of rolling stock, trucks, cars, and so on. I mean, how many of those would have been brought in?
Oh, I have no idea. We have,
Roughly.
I'd say we must have 50, 60 vehicles that we brought in. We're bringing in an F-16 jet.
Yeah.
We're bringing in, tons and tons of lighting equipment. We've got horses, special stunt horses, falling horses from Spain. It goes
On and on.
It goes on and on.
Right.
And, sometimes it doesn't clear as quickly as you'd like it to. And then you've got permissions you've got to work out in each state, the governors of each state in Morocco. And then accommodations were a big problem, which was our fault, really, because we just started so late, but we need like 300 rooms at the height of the tourist season. But all of that's behind us, and the most important thing is it smells really good. And I don't say that lightly because, one is aware of the responsibilities of doing a sequel, but it feels good. It feels
Right.
really good.
How close do you stay to all the nitty-gritty business stuff of solving those problems with the customs and so on?
Well, it's as close as still have to be solved. I mean, you have people to do it, but at like 2 key points, I had to fly up to Rabat, which is the capital, and you meet with people, and when it reaches a crisis, a true crisis situation, I mean, you need things in, then sure you have to take it upon yourself to do it.
They were obviously pretty serious situations, though.
Yes, they were. Well, they were ones where our company couldn't shoot. For instance, we had these guns, and we had our second unit, the action sequence, and they were walking around with a bunch of rubber guns, and we were reaching the blanks hadn't come in, the guns hadn't come in, and the next day they would have had them going bang bang with rubber guns, unless we got them in. So, yeah, I'm on. I have to. I'm fairly familiar. I mean, my strengths as a producer are not deal making or packaging. My experience is not as a agent or as a lawyer. I'm more familiar with working on sets, both as an actor and just watching my father. So, I take it upon myself to get involved in, all these areas and know exactly what the problems are and what's going on.
So what sort of a toll does it take of you physically? I mean, are you aware of it taking any toll, or do you just keep going?
It runs in rhythms. We were all about the third week of the shoot exhausted, and then you get one good night or two nights to catch your second wind, as it be, and then you're off and running again for maybe 2 or 3 nights. But it's different types of strains. The earlier strains, which were more mental in terms of trying to analyze or figure out what to do, or that kind of stress is gone now. Now it's just the physical endurance of working 16-hour days, but you don't have to. You're not worrying as much as you were about just getting it going, because I mean, there's a lot of money at stake. Movies are expensive. I always feel very responsible about the entertainment industry and the cost, the millions of dollars it costs to make an entertaining picture in this world of ours. So, and I don't like to waste money.
The budget on this is what, about 18?
Yeah, 17 and a half.
17 and a half. And how much of that would be actually being poured into Morocco?
Close to $10 million.
That's a lot of money. How does the government respond? I mean, surely they'd be
Well,
clearing the way in there.
Movie making is relatively new here. I think that they are now going to be gearing up making more films here, and certainly certain elements of the government, obviously the tourism is aware of it, but other elements that probably had more power, who were maybe more reticent in giving us certain permissions at first, it is just now sinking into them. Both the great economic value to the country, not to mention the international press. So I think that films in the future here in Morocco will have a much easier time as military departments or economic departments and ministers of information realize, not only the economic value, but how much notoriety films will get. So it'll be easier in the future.
Right. Somebody was saying yesterday that you've got to go to Rabat tonight for dinner with the king. I mean, is that part of the... Who initiated that, the king?
Well, I don't know if it's with the king. It's with his 3 daughters, his three princesses. And some of these were at the royal palace, maybe with the king. No, that was just an invitation from a friend of ours who's close to the royal family, and strictly social.
So it's got no connection with making sure that everything...
No, it obviously doesn't hurt. You touch base, and it doesn't hurt with those relationships. But as I said, we've weathered through all of our predicaments. So anything now is gravy, and our relationships are fine now. And so this is strictly social and just courtesy.
Right. Is this the toughest film that you've had to put together? I mean, physically, logistically.
I think so. I thought the last one was, but what happened with the last one was, in a strange way, that all the mud and the rain sort of bogged us down. So it was a different type of problem. But the last one, you see, the one big lesson I've learned is I'm now totally aware of how much jungle can cover up a screen. In other words, you can have two people hacking their way through jungles, and you have this very full screen with just two people being chased. In more desert environs, you have to need a lot more to fill up the screen. So, we have many, many more mechanical effects, hundreds of people. So the logistical moves in this are monumental because of this number of people that we're moving around.
Mm. Yeah, I wondered, when Romancing the Stone was finished, I did a phone interview with Kathleen and also with Bob. And, I got quite an idea of just how tough it must have been. But then talking to Joel last night, they've got virtually six locations in operation at the same time.
Yeah, this I think is probably was initially more difficult because we could slug through the mud, which was a lot of problems with just Kathleen and I and camera crew. Here, because we're involving so many people in each situation, and the distances are further apart. But if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it.
Right.
So, what can I tell you? I'm actually feeling. We all are feeling good. It smells good, and you look around, and who knows the ultimate project, but it's nice to have that kind of instinct going in right now, and everybody can feel it. And each scene is real special.
Is it your story? Well, let me before you answer that. When was it evident that a sequel was a potential?
Really, not until beginning of August of last year was when the studio decided that they wanted to do a sequel, and I had not given a lot of thought to it. I hadn't thought that way, but I basically initially took the premise of the boat going down West End Avenue, and then picking Jack and Joan up 6 months later on their cruise, when they were really immersed in a relationship now, and the initial blooms of love had sort of wilted. Now they were just dealing one-on-one on a boat, and then working from that premise of these two highly independent people who never really lived with anybody were trying to work out what they wanted to do in their lives versus a relationship. Then try to set it in a unique situation, one that was, the total opposite of where we were before, and that's how we picked Morocco.
So it was originally your storyline?
Yes, and then with Mark Rosenthal and Larry Kona, we evolved and developed it some more.
Right. But while I think of it too, Dickie Attenborough sends his regards.
Oh, good.
We had lunch with him at Cannes.
Oh, did you? Good. How's he doing?
Oh, he's
charming guy, isn't he?
Lovely.
Isn't he charming?
Yeah. And obviously very happy about Chorus Line.
Yeah.
He was there really to talk about British film here and so on.
Right.
Although I'm going, he and Diana are arranging for me to go down to Twickenham Studios in London.
Oh, good.
He said he thinks it'll be okay to have a little bit of footage of the Chorus Line.
Wonderful, good.
And can I come on to that in a minute or two? But just
sure,
talk a little
sure.
bit more. Where was the producer, Michael Douglas, born? I mean, the actor was probably fairly something that was clearly going to evolve if you wanted to have something to do with the industry. But where did the offshoot come?
Producing for me only came out of my love for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I never even thought about producing, except I was fortunate enough to, get hold of this book that my father had and was going to sell. And it came at a lull in my career. And I started trying to work on getting this picture made. And then I started doing this television series, The Streets of San Francisco. And then it was only, it was 5-6 years I spent trying to get Cuckoo's Nest together out of the love for that particular project. Then, we won those Academy Awards, and it was like, well, hell, I'd be a fool just to sort of like walk away from this.
It must have been a terrific educating process, those 5 or 6 years trying to get it together.
Well, it was. It taught me a lot about revenge.
Revenge?
Well, all the people that rejected the project. It taught you about tenacity. No, I think I think revenge is a very healthy emotion. And, you sit there at night, and saying, someday I'm going to get this picture made. All those people, I'm going to look at all those people who turned it down. And you need sometimes that kind of energy, that kind of drive to get something done. But where I learned mostly all my experience of producing was on the television series. I directed a couple of the episodes too, but you're making a 52-minute movie in 7 shooting days. I did 104 of them. I used to talk to the production manager a lot, and you get an appreciation of how logistically a company can move, and you move fast when you're doing a series. And so then when we finally got Cuckoo's Nest going, I was surprised at how much knowledge I had accumulated.
A multi-talented guy. Michael's hands-on experience as both an actor and producer clearly played a major role in the successful planning and production of The Jewel of the Nile, a wonderfully entertaining romp. Prior to his commitments with Jewel, Michael had completed shooting the screen adaptation of the Broadway hit musical A Chorus Line. The film was directed by British director Sir Richard Attenborough. And in the upcoming second part of my interview with Michael, he talks about his role in A Chorus Line as Zach, the casting director auditioning dozens of talented dancers, and how the film opened many more options than the limitations of a live theatre production.